Welcome to the Record Machine Show, a podcast featuring interviews from indie and renowned artists from all genres of music. Now, here's your host, James Michael Hollenstein.
Today on the Record Machine Show, I'm joined by a band whose story is every bit as compelling as the music they make. A group built on history, heart, with their latest album that's been turning heads. The band is Mirrour, the powerhouse trio of Roland Colón, Sal Geraci, and Bob. Three lifelong musicians whose journey together began long before they ever stepped into the studio for Opus in C major. Their roots trace back to Long Island, where they shared a passion for songwriting, melody, and honest storytelling, sparked through a creative bond that's held strong for decades. What sets Mirrour apart isn't just their musicianship, it's the truth behind every note. These are artists who've grown side by side, challenged each other, and carved out a sound that blends classic influence with modern depth. Their music carries the spirit of where they started while showcasing just how far they've come. And now that evolution reaches a new peak with Opus in C major, a cinematic, richly textured album overflowing with emotion, craftsmanship, and intention. From soaring melodies to introspective moments, this record captures the full scope of who Mirrour is today. A band with chemistry, vision, and an unwavering commitment to the art. In just a bit, we'll dive into the making of the album, the stories behind the tracks, and the creative journey that turned years of ideas and experiences into one powerful musical statement. But first, we're kicking the show off the way every great record begins. So turn it up, settle in, and let's put the needle to the record. Here's one of the standout tracks from Opus in C major, The Street Elite.
No shoes upon their feet. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. Now he's dining in the alley at his favorite restaurant with his charming wife named Sally, who was a famous debutante. And now they're dining with the street elite who haven't had enough to eat. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. To me, I can see something we can never be when I looked out my door. Time for us all to see something we can never see. Could it be we are poor? Living on the avenue, living on the avenue, waiting for the lights to change. Living on the avenue, living on the avenue, people look at us so strange. He had $1 billion empire, now he doesn't have a home. You see his face in every city where the homeless people roam. And now he's asking for a handout, please, bending down upon his knees. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. Oh, how the mighty have fallen.
You just heard The Street Elite by Mirrour, and I've got Roland, Sal, and Bob on the line for an interview. So how are you guys doing?
I'm doing great. It's been a good day. We've had some rain out here in Southern California, and now crystal blue skies. Amazing what some rain does, but it's just like really a gorgeous day outside, so it's great. And this is fantastic. Thank you so much to start off things. Just take the time to interview us as Mirrour. We really appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. I appreciate you doing the show. And let's start from the beginning. Where did you guys grow up, and how did your surroundings shape the kind of music that you make today?
Sometimes they say we've never grown up, but I guess we did. I'll start if that's okay. I was born in Brooklyn, and we emigrated out from the city onto Long Island. And that's where I met Sal. We were young teenagers. We just kind of hit it off.
Right. High school is two different schools we went to. My background, same story. I was born in Manhattan, Bellevue Hospital. My parents did the same thing. They moved to the suburbs out in Suffolk County on Long Island, and met Roland in our teenage years. And it was basically just our love for music that was going on at the time. You know, I always considered the 60s was the renaissance of pop music. And we were, fortunate to be born in that time period when rock and roll and pop music just took off to these exciting new sounds. And we just got enthralled on it. We met and we just hit it off from there and started singing. And, not too long after that, started writing our own songs.
Bob?
Yeah, I wasn't actually born. I believe I was hatched, or at least that's what they told me. But at any rate, it was Los Angeles for me the whole time. And I just grew up enjoying a certain type of music, which we'll probably all get into later, because it turned out that it's the same type of music that both Sal and Roland were enjoying on the other coast. And that's why when we finally met and all got together, it was very easy because we liked all the same things and always had, at least my whole life. And that's about it.
Well, let's talk about how, you guys met. How did your individual paths eventually lead to forming Mirrour as a trio?
We just kind of, our families, we kind of met each other. And, we got invited over to Sal's house, and we just kind of hit it off. We'd never met each other before, but we found we had the love, for the same type of music. And then we also found out that we could sing, and that we could actually sing together and sound pretty decent.
Did you, Roland? It's Bob. Did you find that out that very night over dinner?
Yes, that very night, that very evening.
Wow.
It just kind of like happened from that point on. We were just like, we're inseparable.
Really. And, Roland had that when he came to our house with his family for dinner, he had like a portable record player, and he brought his 45s, and we were singing to them. And as soon as he started singing, I think it was like a Beatles song, like I Feel Fine or Help or something like that. And it just blew me away because he kind of had this very Lennon-esque type of quality to it. And I sang with him on the harmonies, and, we sounded really well. And then we started doing it a cappella, and then, wow, this is a real natural blend. You're not even having the help of a record. And then, we just took off from there, shared our love for the music, what we liked, and, tried, like I said, eventually a few months later, writing our own songs. And we just spend, every waking hour outside of school, together, and kind of honing our...
Sometimes when there was school.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. That's right. We won't tell the truant officer about that, but yes, that's true. Yeah. But so that's how we began, and then circumstances happened. Roland and I enjoyed some great high school teenage years together, and then due to family reasons, health reasons with my mom, we had to get out of the winters of New York and move to Southern California, which was a big downer for me. Mm-hmm. And then I met Bob about a year after we had settled in, and we connected just based on the music. His mom met my aunt, and they said, I have a nephew, and Bob's mom, I have a son. They love music, and let's get together, and exchanged phone numbers. And then I met Bob, and that was it. He was in. He was the missing link, and Roland and I always wanted to get a band together. It was always just the two of us. And then I thought, well, here's the third guy. And I called Roland and told him about Bob, and he got all excited. And, that's the way it happened, where we, all three of us kind of connected. And then eventually, Bob and I went to New York, and we spent some time at Roland, and they actually met, and they just connected and hit it off. And I couldn't believe how well the chemistry was. And, we just developed, everything was about music, James. Just, a love for music and a passion and a desire to make it. That's what drove us, not only our friendship, but also our goals and our dreams to make music. So we bonded, and we've been friends for all these years.
That's awesome. Well, let's talk about the lineup a little bit. You guys introduce yourselves, Sal, Roland, and Bob. What does each member bring to the table?
Oh, look at this.
Cheeseburger.
It almost sounds like we switched over to Simon and Garfunkel, and that was the Sounds of Silence. But it's still Mirrour here, right?
Right,
So
Mirrour, right.
we can still do the interview, right?
Right. We're going to break
Okay.
silence. It'll be broken silence for
So
Mirrour.
let's break silence. Who wants to go first?
Well, Bob, we've done all the talking. Why don't you take it? You tell
Okay,
your role.
fine. Yeah, so
Okay, thank you, Bob. That was very good.
Yeah, very
Now,
good.
Bob,
Very
Roland,
good.
Why don't you tell us what you did? No. Okay, take it away, Bob. Go ahead.
Let's see. I started out as the lead guitarist of Mirrour, and that's a term that I enjoyed using because that's what George Harrison was. It always said that in all the PR. George Harrison was the lead guitarist of the Beatles, and of course, he's pretty iconic to me and someone that I respect greatly and always did. I actually started playing the drums because it was so much easier to bang on things and learn how to move your fingers. And I did that pretty successfully for a few years. And I'll tell you, the day I met Sal, I was only about 8 months ahead of him guitar-wise. I had just had about an 8-month jump on him. But because I knew a handful more chords than he did, I was called the lead guitarist at the time. And
You were anointed.
I appreciated that. And in those early days, especially when I met Roland and just watched these guys for just a little while, they sit there and have ideas, and they would write things right in front of me. I go, hello, I'm sitting right here, words, tunes. Then they'd start singing and just throw it out there. You just grab a guitar, put some chords to it. That's Sal would handle the tune always, and then I would enhance it with little bits and pieces here and there, and actually turn it into an arrangement. And so very early on, I felt that I have some skill here, understanding how music works and understanding the spectrum, like viewing life in stereo, as it were. And it just really helped to strengthen my ability to enhance the things that they were doing, which were already awesome. They just could write like there's no tomorrow, and there wasn't, because every day there was something new, and they ended up with hundreds. I'm truly mean that, hundreds of songs, bits and pieces here. Some were finished, many were not, but such a rich palette of material that was very, very fun to jump into when we were together. And when we weren't, when Sal and I were back in Los Angeles, we formed bands, and we used the name Mirrour all along the way, I guess. But we were just doing cover songs because those originals were very, I'm going to call them holy. That's something that really only Roland and Sal and myself should put our hands on, because that was us. That was our soul. So in the bands that we played in Los Angeles, it was all sort of cover material. Mm-hmm. And we got quite a following. And, we had moments of Mirrour mania, but it was that other Mirrour without Roland in it. It would be the cover Mirrour band. And all through that, I was lead guitarist and carried that torch pretty high at the time. We took a little break, and we might get to it in other questions, but the three of us really got back together solidly in 2018. And from that day forward, in whatever day it was, I think it was August, summer of 2018, we have not stopped. We made a conscious decision to record everything. Those hundreds of songs that I spoke of earlier, mm-hmm. just sitting there on the backs of envelopes and other types of paper that falls apart quickly. We decided to just do every one of them, finish them up and record them pro in the digital realm, because we had those tools in the 2000s, we were able to leave the old studio with the analog world and the 2-inch tape and actually digitize what we did and have multiple tracks that go on and on forever. There's no such thing as 24 track anymore. You can just keep going. So it was at that point in time that a shift occurred. I became very interested in engineering and mixing and putting to work what I know about life in stereo, putting that into the music and being able to place the sounds in my mind, where they should be. And I became what I believe a very good engineer, a very good mixer, and I played very little guitar. Actually, Sal's quite a good guitarist on his own, and since 2018, he's been handling pretty much all of the guitar work on all these new tracks that we've done. Occasionally, I will step in, I'll hear something, it calls to me still, and say, "Oh, I think I could do a little something here," and I'll just grab a random guitar and maybe throw something on. My partners have called that act. They've named it 10 Seconds of Brilliance. Actually, they didn't. I just made it up right here on the spot.
I never heard that expression.
They've never said that. They have never said that. I just, that's me. I think it's something like that. It's 10 seconds of brilliance because there's a tiny spot between vocals. It sounds like, ooh, I feel it. I grab it. I'll throw something in there. It'll be just maybe sometimes only 3 to 7 seconds. I cut myself short. Every now and then I go the full 10. And you have like a little something, a little flair, a little lead, and that I'm glad that I could still leave my mark, on the songs here and there. But really, the big thing is the mix, grabbing the sounds as they're made live in the studio. I do a thing called live mixing. I hate to sit after the fact and mess with it. So as the music is coming out, you just grab the instruments, you move them around left 35%, 40%, 50%, at the end of the day, I take my headphones off and say, yep, that's it. I think we got a mix here, a good one. And usually that's what ends up on the radio down the road. So I'm actually quite proud of that. That's why I'm going on and on and on about it. And of course, since you're going to edit this later, you could cut it all out and just take it down to, he plays lead guitar. Leave it at that if you want, But you know what? I like what I've done. I'm real proud of my modern day mixing work, way more than ever playing the guitar was to me. It's become something very special. That's it.
Yeah, here, Bob. Thank you. Anyway, James, my part in the band is I play guitar. I guess first thing is I write the songs. I co-write them with Roland. We sing them. I'm a singer. I play rhythm guitar, lead guitar when needed, the bass player. I do the keyboards. And when I say keyboards, that would be piano, as well as like anything that you can get like a stimulation of music, like orchestral things or horns and stuff like that. So I also do the arrangements when songs need, musical background of strings or trumpets or horns and stuff like that. Occasionally I'll play the drums, and that's my role in a nutshell. Amazing. I did that in less than 30 seconds. I also vacuum the studio. I do the windows, and I bring the tea.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm happy to let them all do all that stuff too.
What do you do, Roland? Yes.
I'm the world's worst guitarist. So I stink. Okay, so I'm very happy that they're happy to do all of that. I think the music. I mean, for both of us, we don't really break it down where one guy does lyrics, the other guy does the melody. We kind of both do both things. Although I have to bow to Sal because he is just so much better at me in melody than I am, But I think at this point I have the advantage over him as far as lyrics. Although I do tend to be a little bit dark in those, but that's kind of what I bring. So it's not as fancy and not as much as the other two, but I got something going at least.
Yeah,
Right.
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and if I could add something, none of us know how to read or write music, or even English for that matter. But anyway, we don't know how to read or write music, so it's all intuitive by ear, and it works out good. So that if we've written a song and we have a feel of how we want to present it, and everyone has a gift that they bring to the band, whether it's an idea or the vocal or a harmony or arrangement. Or if I can't quite execute it, I'll tell Bob, "This is the feel I want." Can you give me something that sounds like dust or something that sounds like moonbeams or just a general, and he comes up with it, and so that's how well we work together. We read each other very well without technically telling him, "I need to play a diminished ninth on this," or whatever the heck that might be. But and that's the way we work very well together. So the three parts of us, make up a total sum of some really good music that we're proud of.
Very cool. Every band has influences. Which artists or sounds have shaped your style?
Ooh, I'll take it, but I'll do it real quick, though. Doc Severinsen in the Tonight Show Orchestra, hands down. Okay, you know what? That was a moment of levity. I'm sorry. It's not really what influenced us. Sal and Roland will take it, since I've already said too much, but I guarantee
No, that was good, Bob. That was good.
Whatever they say, I'm 100% with them, because I know that our influences are 100% the same. They always have been. And like I said, the first time we stepped in a room, it was so easy because we all like the same things musically. And take it away, guys.
Well, for me, there was always music in my household, although, neither of my parents, my brothers and sisters, even my aunts and uncles and cousins, nobody played an instrument in our family, but we all loved music. But in our particular household, I grew up listening to the music of big bands and Frank Sinatra, Bing Crosby, and there was my parents and 5 children, only one record player, which we called a Victrola back then. So we had to take turns in listening to whatever music. So a wide variety. My older brother liked classical music, and my sister liked Broadway shows. And then she got into rock and roll. And then my other sister and brother, they were into pop music. So all these influences were circulating in our house. But I think for me, being a young lad of 11 years old, it was when the Beatles came in '64, and all the music that was in my house that was rock and roll, we had my sisters, like I said, the Everly Brothers, Chuck Berry, my favorite, Little Richard, of that era, and they all were playing in the house. But then when the Beatles came, for me personally, I just identified with that, as so many other guys and girls my age, but the impact was just phenomenal. And, the next day at school, that's all everyone was abuzz about, was that. And, the next day kids in school were trying to, start bands and all that kind of stuff. So having, at that time being influenced by the Beatles and their great talent, and then as they progressed and then got into, to read different things about them, their influences and their upbringing was also that same kind of thing, a wide variety of, dance hall music from England and standards and all that kind of stuff. So it was just a cornucopia of sounds. But the thing that really got me going, like, I can do this, was the Beatles.
Good stuff. Roland?
Same here. I mean, the Beatles were obviously our number one influence, but I too came from a musical family as well. They were good singers, and they loved all different genres of music. In fact, I didn't even listen to rock. I hated rock and roll. I listened to classical until the Beatles came along. All of a sudden, it was like this switch went off in my head, and I realized what I had been missing. So from that point, so even in the way we write and stuff, we have very many different influences that exhibit themselves in the various songs that we do. It's not just rock, or it's not just ballads. We do all different kinds of styles, and we love doing it, because it's a lot of fun, And I think for us, we just, especially the Sal and I, we just hit it off right from the start. We had chemistry. Mm-hmm. It's a little paradoxical because we were like competitive, but yet we still were cooperative with each other. We were rivals. At least I have a rivalry. I don't know if Sal does. I can't speak for him, but
no, I don't. I really don't. It's more admiration. How does he do it? But Yeah, I mean, if it helped you, that's great. James, this is a great interview. I'm finding out more about these guys than I ever knew. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, I was going to finish that. We do have a rivalry, but yet we're probably each other's biggest fans when it comes down to it. So we support each other, but yet I think at the same time we're also not afraid to criticize each other too. If something doesn't
Right,
sound
very
right,
true. Yeah,
we're not afraid to just say that that's what it is. This doesn't sound right.
right. When Roland laughs at your
Mm.
song when you begin it, there's something wrong with it. That's the first thing. Sometimes nothing needs to be said. I'll say, I got this idea, I'll sing it, and he starts laughing. And I know, okay, that ain't going to work. And we just move on, I'm sorry, go ahead, Roland. I just had to throw that in.
No, I was done. I mean, Beatles were the greatest influence there too, but but there's others too. I mean, the Beach Boys and their harmonies. For me, like the Doors kind of opened up a dark spot in my composing, that I still have today. Bands like the Kings have this unique sound and voices to match. Even the Rascals, ELO, so all of these things are batting around in your head at the same time, complete with all the other influences you had from before any of this. These bands came along, and that kind of like just shapes you.
Right. And if I could add one more influence on me a little later on, in late 69, 70, was a very talented artist, Emmett Rhodes. And I was just blown away by his first album, and that he did everything. And he played every instrument. He did the vocals, the harmonies. He wrote everything. And I thought, well, there's a talent. There's a guy who is inspirational, and he was to me. So I'll have to put, as well as all those other groups that Roland mentioned, that what I call the Renaissance of pop music, I'd have to put Emmett Rhodes high on that list as well, for me.
Nice.
Well, Emmett Rhodes did what McCartney didn't accomplish.
Right. Very true, yeah. Right.
Your album, Opus in C Major, has been getting a lot of attention for its creativity and depth. What's the story behind it, and what does it represent for the band?
Well, I guess
this is a Sal question.
This is a Sal question. Yeah. I just had this idea of, as we reconnected after 2018, and we were kind of exhausting a lot of our oldest songs already, just kind of recording them. What new project could we have? And just, I don't know. I had one song called Up and Down, and I thought this song should be everything in the key of C. Just don't change it in C. And to have different, styles of music and genres, starting out with a ballad, going kind of reggae style, then a 50s Elvis thing, and then just like a rock and out punker type of thing. And just the whole song, even though there were the different genres, just keep it in C, very basic, C, F, and G, because that's the beauty about music. You can have just very simple format of 3 chords, and you can do all these different styles. So that was the driving thing. And then after I played that to Bob, he thought it was good, and Roland, great. Then the idea, why don't we just do a whole album? I don't know if anyone's done this, I told him, but why don't we just do a whole album in the same key, in the key of C? Every song, C starts in C, and then, go on to, other variations of diminishes and minor chords or whatever, but you always end up with C major, from the beginning to the end. And that was the idea. And they go, they couldn't think of any album that did that. And so we just started writing these songs, and specifically in the key of C. And then we thought, well, this is like a little bit of a theme, or a musical theme at least. And so why don't we make the songs of a little bit more of a serious nature lyrically? And that was the genesis of that. And you guys take it away from there, your thoughts on it.
Yeah, well, it's we thought it was a great idea, and so we kicked out a lot of this stuff. It was new. It was written for the album, and it was just an interesting project. I think really sometimes I guess frustrating.
Yes,
but often very enjoyable as well.
Definitely a cool concept. Walk us through your creative process when you're writing and recording. How does a Mirrour song typically come together?
Well, I think we write it first, so we have a song idea, and so as a writer, and Bob does write songs. He writes very good songs, and not just an A minor. but he does good songs. So all three
on Opus.
Yeah, he's got two of them, right? And so we all are songwriters, and so when we have a particular song that we've just written or an idea, we'll present it. In the early days, Roland and I wrote, pretty much 50-50, but now that, we have distance between us, we pretty much write individually. But we'll always run it by, well, this is what I got. What do you think? And either it's, okay, that's great. And then, well, how about this? Maybe we could put, this lyric in here. Or Sal, I'm having trouble coming up with a bridge. Can you come up with a bridge? So, the first step is just writing songs. And for me, very rarely do I sit down and say, I have to write a song. I'm going to write a song today. A lot of some of these ideas just pop in my head out of the blue. I could be going to the refrigerator and opening it, and an idea just comes to my head, and for unknown reasons, but they just do. And then, okay, I'll file it and then just kind of develop it. And then also paying attention to the news and the headlines, or just even expressions that people say. Sometimes in the way people speak, their patterns and words, they say there's a rhythm to it, very rhythmic. And I'll pick up on that. And, that phrase has something to it that could be musical. And I'll, store that in my memory bank and kind of develop something like that. So there's no clear way that we write or what inspires us. It's just that it's something that comes natural. And, it could be anything from everyday life to something that we've read to, making up, like I said, a story based on the rhythm of a phrase that somebody says. Mm-hmm. So that's how I do my writing, for me.
Yeah,
and then once we get that, okay, Roland, I said my bit.
No, it's just that you mentioned about reading. I mean, it's 2025. I still get the newspaper because I like to look at the written word. And it's important to me, and it gives me a lot of ideas sometimes. But when an event happens, or just a comment somebody made about a particular event, it just kind of like my head that way, or a comment even in passing. Somebody may say something, and I realize, wow, that's a great phrase. It's only a few words, but it's a great phrase. I write it down. Today I use my phone, but I put it in my phone, and then, as I'm writing a song, I look at all these things all these notes that I jot down, and then I start cherry picking, something that has to deal with whatever the song is that I got an idea for. But, my song is the same way. They just kind of like pop into my head. I could just be lying down. I get a lot of that stuff when I'm sleeping. And then I wake up in the morning and I'm trying to figure out, exactly what was that song again, and then you're singing it to your phone, and then the next morning I have no clue what I just sang, because it's all mumbled and all. But that's how usually it'll come to me. I don't sit down either and just decide, well, I'm going to write a song today.
Mm-hmm. Right. And so then once we have a song and it's written and it's completed. Then, we'll just head into the studio, and who's ever the main writer, whether it's Bob or me or Roland, we'll say, what's the feel, what's the sound that we want. So, a lot of times Roland will do it back in New York, and then he'll give us instruction. I want this more to be an acoustic, and it goes, like this kind of style, and keep the drums light. Or he'll say, I want this a heavier song, and I want some horns here, I want some strings. So he'll give us a direction, but not where it's mapped out all the way. He gives us that artistic freedom to kind of create. And then the same with me and Bob, when we're in the studio, we'll take that and kind of work with it, and then send it back to Roland, what we got, and he'll say, yeah, I like it. No, can you do this? But and then if it's my song, Bob and I are in the studio, and then I'll tell him what I want, and he'll have some suggestions, and we work it out and send it to Roland, and he says, yeah, I like it or dislike it. And then we move on from that. And the same with Bob. He'll, write his song and then say what he wants. And we'll work on it that way. So that even though we have, these three different writers, when it comes to the actual recording of it, it's, everyone putting input to it. Someone might have an idea, but then it's discussed from the band. And, no one, I have to say, in all the years, no one has an ego in the band where it's like, it has to be done this way. This is what I have in mind. We're always open to suggestions, which is, I think, is part of our uniqueness in the sound that we have. Because I think in this day and age, there's maybe not too many bands, but when you hear Mirrour, we really do sound like a band. And I think that contributes to that because we're all in it together, It's not a Sal song. It's not a Roland song, not a Bomb song. It's a Mirrour song.
Bob?
I like Sal's last thought there about it's not a Roland song, it's not a Sal song, not a Bob song. These are Mirrour songs, and what I'm hearing on the radio these days are just that. It's a band delivering a cool product that is the product of intelligent thought in terms of words and ideas coming together, and rhyme, which is kind of important in writing songs, and just great music, just a sort of a great sonic that ties it all together in a very believable and sort of a refreshing presentation where the listener says, "Oh, that's fun to listen to. Can I hear that again?" Or at least that's what this listener says.
Awesome. We're featuring 3 tracks on today's show: The Street Elite, Like Nobody Can, and Look Loves Laughing at Me. What inspired each of these songs?
Well, I guess this is mine, right, guys? I don't know. Did you say
yeah, they were there. Well, except for Street Elite, they were all 2 of them in New York.
Yeah. Well, Street Elite is just one of those things about. Actually, I was, just familiar with the phrase "Oh, how the mighty have fallen," and it's an expression that's been around, and I connected it to the stock market crash, and how a reversal of fortunes happened overnight to these individuals. And then I got with that idea. And then, of course, the music had to be in that kind of 1930s kind of genre to it. And I just came up with how things, change, And so the guy's, he's poor. So he's eating cornflakes for breakfast. He's eating cornflakes for lunch. And, how he lost it all on a hunch on the stock market and just all that kind of stuff, and just the reversal in his life. And so I had this idea, and then just picked up the guitar and just strummed a chord or two, and this tune just came, and it's kind of blended and words developed. And then I needed a middle bit, and I don't know if they call it a bridge. Again, we don't know how to read or write music. I don't think it's a chorus. I think it's a bridge, and
that's a bridge.
It is a bridge. Okay. Is it a bridge too far? Anyway. Okay. So anyway, we talked about it, and I go, I think Roland had a bit from when we were kids, and he had this bit that was in that 1920s genre,
the 20s, 30s genre.
Right. And it was about, the kind of things about, depression, and it was called Living on the Avenue, and it wasn't a completed song. So again, with this key of C, because it's on the Opus, and I just put the chords that I had in C into my bit, and then I just had Roland's song, whatever key that was originally, and I forget. And then we just put it to C, and I mapped it out, and then I sent it to Roland, a rough demo, and he thought, hell, this is fantastic. And so that's how that song came about, just kind of by, that expression of, oh, how the mighty are falling, and then just developed a song from there. And then, of course, the arrangement would have to be in that kind of time period of the 1930s, and we try to get the hope we accomplish it, like a feel of that era, and if you will, jazz or swing, whatever they call it back then, and come up with that little riff, and we put it had to be like a muted trumpet to get that feel. So that was the coming about of that song, how that developed. So and then we got in the studio, and Bob engineered it well, and Roland sang his bit, and he said it here, and then we mixed it all together, and then the next one I think you said was Looks Loves Laughing at Me.
Yup, and Like Nobody Can also.
Okay. Look Loves Laughing at Me is a song that I had just a little bit, just the opening phrase. Look Loves Laughing at Me, what more can I say? And I had that when I was, just maybe 17 or 18 years old. Not much of a song, but great to the great educational system of Long Island in English grammar. I got enthralled with this, and I stunk at grammar, by the way, but this thing called alliteration, and all these, words that could sound together that begin with the same letter and kind of sound alike. And I was kind of enthralled with that. And I just thought of this look, loves, laughing, so I got the three L's in there. And that's how the song developed. Look, love's laughing at me. And then it just led itself to the whole story of the song of, this guy can't win at love. It's, always a negative for him. And he's like, had enough. Love, stop laughing at me. I can't take anymore, and what more can I do? And then, we wanted to, the guys tell me I have this, I guess, ability to take something that's kind of a downer, this guy can't succeed in being loved, something that we all want, but I'm able to put like a catchy, uplifting tune to it. So there's a dichotomy there.
Exactly. And there's where we split.
Yeah.
I'll start with the dark, and then I only end up going further down into the rabbit hole. So, our approaches are very, very different.
Yeah. So anyway, that's how the song was written. And then I just said, I wanted to keep it in that light vein. So the music is not much to it. And we have the harmonies on the look, da, 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 and that was just a fun track to do. We just had a blast on that. And we actually were laughing at the end of that session. So that was a good one, it was a good one. And then the other one was called Like Nobody Can.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just based on, again, an expression that I heard, somewhere I heard this thing about read the book, read it, and then write the book. And then I thought, read me, write me. And that just kind of triggered it off. And then I thought of, where we're going to go with this. And I had to think of relationships and, the love, hate, and getting along and not getting along. That sometimes is in relationships and some more extreme than others. And I just recalled an aunt and uncle who were just like volatile, but they loved each other so much, and they were very volatile in public with their feuds and not getting along and expressing their concerns. And so there was this thing of not getting along and getting along. And that was kind of the approach to that song as far as lyrically. And then musically, it had to be kind of rough and hard, like a rocker, if you will. Mm-hmm. And that's, it came up with a little riff on that. And we recorded that as well. And I never told my aunt and uncle that they were the inspiration of that song. It's a secret until now. Okay.
Hey, Sal, there was an update in there because I think, wasn't it when you first wrote it, you had the word like fax machine or fax?
Oh, yeah, that's true. It went back. Yeah, it was like read me, write me, phone me, fax me. That was one of the original. But by the time we got to recording it, well, faxing was out of the picture. So I had to change it to something about text me. Mm-hmm. I forget what the lyric is right now. It's just embarrassing, but I don't remember. But it was about something, text me or don't delete me, something like that. You complete me. But anyway, that's how those songs came about. And then again, the volatile relationship of my particular aunt and uncle, but how other couples have that too, lent itself where the song had to be a little bit more harder and like a driving beat to it. So that's how those three songs came about, James. I hope that gives you an explanation.
Yeah, excellent stories. I enjoyed the stories very much. Now that we've heard the stories behind the music, let's take a listen to Like Nobody Can.
Yes, me, dress me, you won't test me, it's you understand. Tempt me, text me, you perplex me, you make me incomplete. Phone me, friend me, don't defend me, there's no need to delete. So you climbed your family tree and you're looking down at me, 'cause you just to cause me misery. Yeah, like nobody can. Whoa, like nobody can. Take me, touch me, you relax me, you soothe into my soul. Break me, bend me, then you bend me, you always took control. Treat me, trick me, please don't fix me, leave me on my own. Push me, pull me, you fulfill me like no one I've known. So you climbed your family tree, now you're looking down at me, and you work so tirelessly, yeah, to cause me misery. Yeah, like nobody can. Oh, like nobody can. Lead me, ride me, ooh, ignite me, like nobody can. Yeah, like nobody can. Like nobody can. Like nobody can.
Wow, what a fantastic track. Each song has its own vibe from high energy to emotional depth. How do you keep your sound cohesive while still exploring different styles?
We're kind of trying to stay true to who we are as individuals and as a band. So when we are doing different styles, it does sound cohesive because it's the same voice, and not just verbal voice, but it's the same voice as far as the writing aspect of it across all the songs. So there is cohesiveness that way, even though the style of the song might be totally different. I mean, sometimes we'll do blues. We'll do the 20s thing. We'll do, reggae.
Country
type.
western, yeah, anything, yeah.
Yes, but we do, it's still us.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it also has to do with our priority, of course, is to make good music, and so everything is important of the musicianship and getting it just as closest to perfection as we can. I know that's probably an impossibility, but we are really focused on that, and that's where I think really Bob comes in with his mixing and the sound and making it have this cohesiveness and togetherness for each song, and he'll try different things within the mix. You could lay down a track and you could just change the whole feel of it, with the mix, not even that you've changed the notes and what's been laid down, but just the mix in itself could, change the sound. And I think a lot of it has to do with, our determination to make it sound, as good as we can and cohesive. And I think a lot has to do with Bob does. Wouldn't you say that's true, Bob? Making it the sound that you develop?
Yes, I think so. I think it's a real craft.
Yeah, it is.
Which is what I was saying earlier. It's for me, it's more enjoyable than playing an instrument. I find that the studio itself and the board, I like to call it, the board. I'm the chairman of the board, or on some level, and I find that to be just a more fascinating instrument than any of the traditional physical instruments that we all played, or in my case, used to play. I find that the studio itself is probably the coolest instrument, and what you can do to the sounds as they come into the board, as they're being made, are really the magic of music these days. Anyways, it was quite different in the analog days, because back then it was what it is, or something like that, or it was what it was.
That sounds rhythmic. I think I'll write a song about that.
Yeah, quick, run off and do that.
What was that? It was what it is, and it is. Okay, great.
But nowadays, any little sound that comes in isn't really at all what you think it is, or it may not end up that way, because it can be changed, it can be altered, it can be doubled or tripled or, phased, and you end up with something quite different than perhaps what you had just played seconds ago. So yeah, it really is an exciting, wild ride to work the controls.
The mix is very important, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Exactly. And Bob does an excellent job. He's been blessed, really, with a if you want to call it a gift from God. He has like perfect pitch, perfect hearing, and he just hears everything sonically, what blends and what's in tune and what's not. And
hey, what was that? What was that, Sal? Could you just say all that again? For Radioland,
Okay.
I'm kidding.
You've been blessed with, and we've been blessed to have you in the band because while Bob works the board, Roland and I, when it gets to that phase, we are bored, bored. We're bored when he's doing, because he can take hours, getting it just right. We're kind of, okay, what do you think of this sound? Like, half hour's going by, and okay, that sounds good. But he that's a gift that Bob has, and it's so great that he's, we've known him all these years, but who knew back then that he had this gift of mixing in these great ears that just separates things so perfectly. He really does a fantastic job. So like you said, there used to be the proof is in the pudding. Well, it's in the mix, and that's what Bob does. So, is that good enough, Bob? That's the way you wrote it out for me, right? Did I read it right?
That's fine. And I'll give you that $25 after the interview.
Okay, very good.
Thank you
Bitcoin, right? I don't want to know that Bitcoin bit. Okay, yeah. Okay, great. All right.
Another thing that's important is the track sequence when you put the album together. Wouldn't you agree?
Very much. Sometimes I believe that sequencing is, it's just about as important as the songs themselves, because if you just throw the songs together like you would a salad, you're going to have just a bunch of really tasty songs, right? But if you arrange it like a chef would, in the proper order, which would be perhaps, the appetizer and then this and that, and then end up with dessert. At the end of it, you've really got something. You've got a fabulous experience, that a culinary delight that you will be talking about for years. And I think all the great albums, and let me just throw Sgt. Pepper out there as, just an aside, how could you imagine the songs on Sgt. Pepper being in any other order than they are, right? And that's, right. I think of that on every piece of work we do. It's so important to just, even if we have to move a song one space, one slot down, it could make or break the whole dynamic of that side. We still call them sides, by the way. Side one, side two. We come from the old school. I know they don't do that anymore, but
Yeah. So the sequencing, we put a lot of thought into that, and from what you're saying, James, I think we've achieved what we wanted to. That the sequence on the Opus works very well. Great.
You would say it was cohesive, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's meant to be listened to that way.
Exactly.
From one track to the other, so it should be a whole experience, and not just pick and choose, and it moves things around, but just, one song follows into the other, and then all those other classical breaks in between, and it just sets up the whole thing, the whole mood.
Yes, track sequences is very important. Where can the listeners find you guys online? Any websites or social media links you want to share?
Ooh, I'll take that, Bob here.
Yes.
We're all over social media and all the usual places, James, but I'm telling you, Facebook is the big one for us. We have, let's see, I guess we're at 5,000 friends or follow or whatever, and they cap it. Facebook doesn't let you have any more than 5,000. So we're always getting little notes from people. Hey, we really want in, but you're full. They won't let us in. So we end up having to sack, family members and pets sometimes, just to open up
and
open up a
band
little
members.
space.
I want to get back in. Can you let me in?
Yeah, whatever.
Why not create a second page, Mirrour TOO?
Ooh. Thanks for that great piece of advice. But maybe we will, because we always just cling to the original, being old school and all. But yeah, I guess we could do a second page. Anyways, bottom line is Facebook is kind of what happens the most for us. We seem to have all of our good conversations. All the DJs are there. That's where we met you. And very pleased to have done that. So the part about telling you how to get there, the actual little codes, there's so many numbers, letters, widgets. I'll probably blow it, and even if I don't blow it, no one's going to remember. So I was wondering if I could just send some links to you, and you could include them with the finished product on the podcast, maybe, or something. I mean, it would
of course,
easier to just send you direct links so I don't mess up all the little ins and outs. But I will tell you that one cool thing that happens out there on social media is sort of discovering Mirrour, even though some of the stuff might be from the past. I'll just give you one quick story. It won't be quick, so don't worry. It won't be, because it's me, remember? There's a song, we do a song of the week every week, and the current one this week is called Hearts of Gold. And these two, it goes way back. I can't put a year on it, Sal, Roland, but that is one of the earlier things that you wrote together, correct?
Yes, that's Roland's baby from 1969, 68, somewhere around there.
Okay,
yeah,
great.
something like that. Yeah.
So it sits around for years, and finally, somewhere in the mid '80s, we did some professional recording. Believe it or not, with Emmett Rhodes, we actually went to his home studio and worked with him on a few songs, and that was one of them. And we made a single, a true vinyl single from it, right? With a little white sleeve, and we went almost door to door to different colleges and radio stations all around the West Coast and the Eastern Seaboard. That was Roland and his team out there knocking on doors, and we got it to many DJs. It got lots of airplay at colleges and FM radio, and it was our first official single. That would have been about 1983, and it was vinyl, and people enjoyed it, and we have proof of that because we've recorded it off the radio back then. But guess what? Here we are in 2025, and last week we said, you know what? Why don't we pull Hearts of Gold out of the container that it's been sitting in all these years and give it a facelift? So now in the digital realm,
blow off the dust and everything.
First you blow the dust off, and then in the digital realm, even though it was recorded on 24 track, and there's nothing like hearing yourself come out of studio monitors off a 2-inch wide Ampex tape going, oh, that's us on that tape, right? That was then, but now in the digital age, 24 track is nothing. We laugh at that. That's like babies in a crib, right? Babies in a crib, right? I mean, we could do hundreds of tracks nowadays digitally, right? So you take something like Hearts of Gold and you just sort of, put hot sauce on it, which is what we did last week. You brought up the vocals, brought up the low end, brought up the guitars, made a really hot mix, right? And we released it on Sunday to all the DJs that play us. And already we've gotten, I think, over a dozen responses in just a couple of days saying, wow, great track, awesome track, sounds great, over and over. They're going on about it. And I'm laughing, saying, that is crazy. It had one run back in the 80s on vinyl, in sort of a flat mono AM kind of car speaker sound to it, And now with hot sauce on it, it's spinning out there today, tomorrow, the rest of the week. It's already lined up to play on a bunch of shows in the UK, so a whole new generation in social media that we're writing to and saying, hey, listen to Hearts of Gold tomorrow at 6 o'clock or 10, whatever, right, are going to hear it again and enjoy it, in their case, for the first time. Most of them weren't even around in the 80s, so I think it's just a real kind of a gas, to use an old term, to do that, to have an older song that you can, with a little bit of mixing, spruce up into something hot. And, you know, I think the term they use is fire now. It's fire, because that's what we get, these little fire emojis, right? And you put it out there and people are enjoying it like it was brand new, like, you know, first time out. So that is our us tipping our hat to social media. That's kind of what they're doing for us, bringing a whole new audience of listeners who are hearing things that, you know, could be very old, but they don't sound old because,
right.
You know, thank you, mixing. And that's our statement on social media. Again, we'll send you some links after the fact. On our website, that's where I want to end this. That's the one that we are pushing the most, I think, and that's easy. I'm not going to blow that on the air here. It's just www, that's 3 W's dot mirror, that's us, MIRROUR hyphen or dash music, which is what we do, right? So that's www, that's me being cool, you know, abbreviating it, mirror-music.com. And if you go there, you will find a great cross-section of everything we've done.
Mm-hmm.
We don't charge for the songs. We could have sold them all, but, you know, it's all free. You can just download them. And the Opus is there in all of its glory. And all the other albums we've made, all the singles we've made, all of these songs of the week are there. And plus there's a section on, I think it's called On the Radio, where we put interviews, which means this very interview will end up there someday soon.
Oh, yeah.
I hope. And there's also some photos and, you know, trivia, news items. It's actually, social media is great, but I think we stand behind our own website saying, yeah, that's the place we want to be. I think that's what we want people to see. So please, you don't even have to do the 3 W's. You could just say mirror-music.com and it'll take you there. It should. And that's the way we want to be seen, I believe.
So you mean everything you ever wanted to know about Mirrour is on this website, Rob?
Pretty much, yeah.
Wow. I'll have to check that
Bob,
out.
why didn't you tell us before?
Wow. We have a website. Okay, fantastic. And you say the music is for free?
Yeah, for free. Yeah, that's, I know.
I know, that's because we're independently wealthy.
Times are tough. Well, you know, you wrote The Street Elite, right? You know, that's how it goes. You know,
right.
eating cornflakes because we don't sell our music. You know,
there you go. Right,
that could happen.
Yeah, it has.
That's funny. And finally, is there anything you guys would like to mention that we didn't cover today?
You know, we've been talking about Mirrour for an hour. I'd like to just thank you and say, you know what? You're a great guy, and I can see why you win all those awards.
Yeah, here. You know? Yeah, fantastic.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
This is a very nice interview. You've made us feel very comfortable, and just like we're sitting in your living room, you know, or something like that. And thank you for doing a great job and making us feel so at home and talk so freely about the things that we love the most, which is us. You know, but you never cut us off, which is great. So, James, seriously, this was a wonderful experience, and thank you for it.
You're welcome.
Likewise, I'm going to echo those thoughts of Bob. We really appreciate it, and we want to just let you and your followers, your listeners, know that there's a lot more music coming from Mirrour. We're always working on new stuff. We have a big project that's coming up. That stay tuned, and we'll keep you personally update on how it's coming along, and some good things that are going to be happening in 2026 with new material from Mirrour. We've been in the studio, we've been working on it, putting our craft to it, and having a good time, and we're eagerly awaiting it to come out for the digital world to listen to and comment on and hopefully enjoy.
Oh, Sal, go ahead and just tell him, Sal, it's Opus in C minor. He changed the key. All right. Okay.
All right. Fine. Okay. Fantastic.
You know, whatever. Big deal, Sal. Big deal.
That part's not true. That's not true.
Yeah, I'm kidding. No, it's not that at all.
But it is something that we hope everyone will enjoy. Something a little bit, you know, we try to be a little bit different. You know, sometimes it's just pop songs and songs that we write, and some of them, you know, a little bit more serious than others. But this one is something that we've been, you know, working on, and we're kind of excited about it, like any artist would be. But we're anxious to get it out, and we feel it's going to be something probably a little different to the ears of the listeners. So stay tuned, as they say. Okay. So again, thank you, James, for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, James.
So yeah,
we appreciate
fantastic.
it.
Well, you guys are welcome. And when you guys got that project ready to roll and drop it, I'd love to have you back on the air and we can chat about it in 2026.
Sounds like a deal. We'll do that. Yeah. Yeah, we'd love to come back anytime to converse with you. And again, it's been a sheer pleasure. And the other thing is, we've done a few interviews and we've enjoyed them very much so. And we're not just saying this, just to make you feel good or anything. But I have to say, maybe you guys will agree, James has been the most professional interviewer that we've had thus far. And we've certainly enjoyed it. Very good. Good questions.
Well, I appreciate that. And I enjoyed the conversation with you guys as well. And I want to wish you guys a happy Thanksgiving and a happy holiday season and a happy New Year as well.
Likewise.
Well, likewise, right back at you.
Will you guys enjoy the rest of your afternoon, okay?
Right
We'll
on.
do. Likewise to you.
Okay. Bye. Bye-bye. Thanks, James.
Farewell, auf Wiedersehen, goodbye. Good.
Take care.
Take care now.
Bye-bye. That's going to wrap up today's episode of The Record Machine Show. I want to give a big thanks to Roland, Sal, and Bob of Mirrour for joining me today and sharing their stories behind their album, Opus in C Major. It's a record that really captures who they are as songwriters and musicians, honest, heartfelt, and full of passion. To close things out, here's one more beautiful track from the album. This is Look, Love's Laughing at Me. And as always, thank you for tuning in to The Record Machine Show. I'm James Michael Hollenstein, and I'll see you next time right here where their vinyl never stops spinning.
Look, love's laughing at me. What more can I say? Look, love's laughing at me, laughing harder every day. Look, love's laughing at me. What more can I do but smile and say it's over? The face is right, then we're all through. But love, stop laughing at me. Love, stop laughing at me. Love, stop laughing at me now. But love, stop laughing at me. Oh, stop laughing at me. Love, stop laughing at me now. Look, love, stop laughing at me. Love, stop laughing at me. Love, stop laughing at me now. Look, love, stop laughing at me. Love, stop laughing at me. Oh, stop laughing at me now. Look, love, I've learned my lesson. I know you're not to blame. Look, love, I hold no grudges. I know love's not a game. Look, love's laughing at me. What more can I say? Look, love's laughing at me, laughing harder every day. Look, love, stop laughing at me. Love, stop laughing at me. Love, stop laughing at me now.
The Record Machine Show is a weekly radio podcast produced by Jimmy Hall Productions, all rights reserved. For distribution information or to add this podcast to your website, please visit our contact page at therecordmachineshow.com to submit your request. Thanks for listening. See you next time on The Record Machine Show.